chicos, here we have an example of the pretest. So you'll notice over here on the left side, that I've given the two people names, Juan and Maria. So your paper will look the same where you have the little line. You'll write in two names, or like it said in the directions, you can write in estudiante uno and estudiante dos. Just make sure you're spelling estudiante correctly. Now you'll notice that this conversation follows like a normal pattern that people would use to talk. You'll also notice, like for example, here it says hola, and there's this little superscript 1 here. Well, that's because when you go back over here and you're looking at the directions for the pre-examen de escribir, it says right here, two students greet each other, and there's a little 1 and 2. So when you go back here, you see 1. When Juan greeted Maria, I put a 1. And then here, when Maria greeted Juan with buenos dias, I wrote a 2. Please also notice that hola is number 1 and buenos dias is number 2. Obviously, you do not have to use, you're not memorizing this to write, but you have to use two different greetings. We know lots of greetings, so don't write hola both times. You can use hola for one, but you have to use two different ones. Okay, then the next requirement, it says they both introduce themselves. So over here we have me llamo Juan, and I've written a little 3 because that was right here. It said that you're supposed to include a 3. Over here I have Maria saying me llamo Maria, and I've included a 4 because that's what it's supposed to. Now you'll notice here I have mi apellido es Gomez. That's not one of the required things. It just says introduce themselves. It doesn't say specifically that you need to use first and last names. So I've put a star because that's what down here, in this topic development part where you're adding 3 personal touches. So that can count as one of my personal touches because it's not one of the requirements. Going on in the conversation, I have Juan say, mucho gusto, Maria. Again, saying nice to meet you is not one of the requirements, and because it isn't, I can put a star next to it for topic development. Notice I need 3 total. I already have 2. That's pretty good. The next thing I have is ¿Cómo estás? Because requirement 5 was to ask each other how they were doing. And you'll notice that then I have down here y tú labeled with the 6 because they're both supposed to ask each other how they're doing. So it's okay that the numbers don't go exactly in order. In fact, it would be weird here if they weren't. If Maria were to be questioned, how are you? And she was like, and you? I'm regular. That would sound weird. That's why the numbers don't have to go in order there. Okay. Again, I just noticed a typo because it says y2. So he should say, estoy muy bien. And then, okay, there we go. Because now he's answering. Notice again, Maria is regular and Juan is muy bien. Again, I want 2 different things because I want you to show me different ways of saying how you are. Okay. Moving on, the next thing is to ask where each other is from. So, ¿de dónde eres, Maria? We have a number 9. And then down here we have Maria saying, soy de Rolling Meadows. And so that's number 11. Now notice she continues to say, soy estadounidense. That's not one of the requirements, so she can get a star for that topic development down here. Over here we have Y2, that counts as number 10. She's asking, where are you from? Juan replies with, yo soy de Mexico. Okay, so for this next section right here, you'll notice over here, it says that you need to mention what time it is. So I've chosen right here, son las 10:30, to mention what time it is, because that's the only part that's required. This part, ¿qué hora es?, has a star, and de la mañana has a star, because they're not required. They're my personal touches that I'm adding. So you'll notice that I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I even go on down here and I say, ¿a qué hora es la clase de español? for star number 6, and the response es a las 11:30 for star number 7. Now you might be asking yourself, why do I need to include extras if it only says 3? The reason you'd want to include extras is because what happens if one of them's wrong? If I only include 3 and one of them's wrong, then I only have 2 personal touches. And if you notice down here, for topic development, it's on a 5-point scale. If I only have 2 personal touches, that's only going to get me a 3 out of 5. That really starts to bring it down. So even if everything else, if I were to have all the requirements and no errors, and I only had 2 stars, that brings me to a 13 out of 15, which is only an 87%. If I include more examples of things I know how to say, there's a much better chance that I'll get all the way up here for the full 5 points for the topic development. Okay, and then finally you can just see how the conversation has been completed. Okay, now I do want you to make sure that you're opening up on the third page, of the pre-examen, that you're opening up the rubric and that you're looking. You'll notice task completion, including all your requirements, is out of 5 points. Like I just said, topic development out of stars is out of 5 points, and then you can see here how the errors go. Now, right now you guys are going to be working on this together, but when you do this over the weekend for homework to do another one, notice that this page for analyzing a pre-examen, you can write a pre-examen and then ask your friend or somebody who's able to read Spanish, excuse me, really not feeling well, to look over here and to fill out this evaluation for you so you can kind of get an idea of what your practice writing is like. Okay, I hope that helps you guys understand a little bit better what I'm looking for. Like this right here, this would be an A+. This has all the requirements and a lot of stars. It's great work. That's it. Keep working hard. Thanks, guys. See you next week.